All right, welcome back, everybody. Today I got another new microphone. It's a BEACN Mic. I also got the BEACN Mix Create. They're both some awesome looking pieces of hardware. But I just wanted to do some comparison for myself and a couple of buddies that are in need of a new microphone and are looking for different options. So let's get to it. So I took some footage that I had from when I was messing with the Shure MV7 microphone, and I'm going to cut it into this new dialogue so I can hear some comparisons. Right now I've got it set to, I'm just using, this is the on-device profile, but I have changed it. I went in here and changed the presets to a low broadcast voice. I'm going to set it back to a no EQ before I cut in the other footage, just so it's a fair comparison, because the other software, I didn't use pretty much any of the settings for the footage that I have. It's just straight out of the box. So I wanted it to kind of be the same. So let me set that up real quick back to the way it was right out of the box without any EQ or anything, any compression, anything. And we'll go from there. So give me just a second. Okay, so now I've got the BEACN Mic set back to its default right out of the box settings that the software loads. And I'll just go through here and show you that the tabs, and I haven't changed anything, so the defaults are there. You can see the EQ line is just dead flat with no preset bands, added bands, or anything. Down here on the mic setup, this is the speak area that it wants you to get into, and I'm not quite getting there out of the box. Sometimes I am, but it's not quite boosted enough with the 7 dB default. Noise suppression is adaptive, which I leave it at even when I'm changing my settings, because my room noise does change on its own. The fans kick on and some different things that cause noise sometimes, and sometimes they don't, so that noise floor needs to be able to adjust itself, which is this band down here. Expander is defaulted to -70. This is basically the gate. So if I stop talking, you see it go down here into the yellow. So any noises above this line is when the gate opens up and starts playing the microphone. That's defaulted there at 25%, set at -70 dB. Compressor is set to default to -20 at 33% compression account. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. It's not doing a whole bunch of attenuation on me, so it's not compressing hardly anything at this time. So I'm not going to do any makeup gain for that or anything, which I do with my other settings. And so that's pretty much it. Now let's go back to what my settings are, so you can kind of see what the difference are. So I'll go back to on device, and then I also have low band. So that changes this, the 5 dB makeup gain I have. My expander is way up here at like -58. I leave this at 35, and I think default's 33. And the noise suppression, like I said, I leave it on adaptive at 80 and 83. And then on the mic setup, you see, is I am getting into that line most of the time when I'm talking. And over here too, when I'm in the talk zone, you see here's the -20. So not doing a whole lot of attenuation right now. I do go ahead and boost this to +5, because when that adaptive noise floor goes up, I do get some more attenuation to the maximum of about -5. So that's why I'm doing the makeup gain of 5% for that. Like I said, I'm just using a default profile, a default preset of the low pass, or whatever it's called. It's called the low broadcast voice. This could be tweaked a lot. I just have not messed with it yet. So I just wanted to see what the differences were really between my Shure MV7 and this BEACN Mic, with its flat response, and then also with me just making some adjustments, because they're really, I mean, honestly, the Shure MV7 did have some adjustments and stuff, but I really couldn't tell the difference at all when I was making the adjustments with their software. So I kind of just left them by default. So this software does have that advantage, but I will say this. I mean, it is February, or I'm sorry, it is March 6th, and March 6th, 2022. And I do believe that the BEACN team has a lot of work to do still on this software. There are a lot of, and there's no hate going on here. I mean, I understand that they're a new company and they're working on this. I've already dealt with their technical support over their Discord channel. They're great. Awesome response time. I mean, I was in talking to somebody within minutes on a Saturday and got most of my issues resolved. There are some bugs. I'm not going to lie. This software is a buggy mofo. It, when it works great. I have had it freak out. It tends to freak out if you start doing a lot of changes, at once. Like if you start clicking through a bunch of stuff, I've had it lock up to the point where I had to end the task on it. I mean, it basically froze on this screen. It started using a lot of CPU process and then did a no response, and I ended up having to end the task on it. It does have a bunch of bugs that they are aware of, I think, but I don't think they're aware of everything that's going on under the lighting. The lighting ring that's on the microphone itself, when you do the mute, that is not actually implemented yet. They are aware of that. They said they're going to work on that in the near future because it has to tie to the actual mic in Windows. And since the mixer uses a bunch of virtual faders, it doesn't actually tie to it yet. But if you do go over to Windows, for example, if you go here and go into sounds settings and come down and get into the more sound settings, which is this here, if you go to recording and you actually see everything's set to this because that's a virtual, and so it's not tied to this yet. So the ring doesn't, when you hit mute on the mixer, it doesn't mute, but it is tied to the actual physical mic. So here is the actual physical microphone. Windows is seen plugged into USB. If you click on this and go to properties and go to levels and then hit this mute, it doesn't mute, but it is tied to the actual physical mic. So here is the actual physical microphone. Windows is seen plugged into USB. If you click on this and go to properties and go to levels and then hit this mute, it works great. So in the interim, until they get that implemented, what I found by watching YouTube videos or just got on Reddit and reading, if you go to if you have a Stream Deck, which I do, so if you go to the Stream Deck software, you can download a plugin from the Stream Deck store, and it's a toggle mute. I drag and dropped it up here. You look at the settings on mute mic, and then you actually have to go in and tell it that I want to specifically mute the physical mic, this here. So now I've got this mute button. So when I hit it now, will actually mute the ring RGB light and do what it says here in the software. It turns it to red instead of whatever color you had it by default. And it works great. So that's something to do until they fix that in their software. So now let's button this up and go ahead and unplug this and go over to the Shure MV7 and see what the differences are in the sound quality. So be back in just a minute. Okay, so I've moved over to the Shure MV7, and as far as the settings for it, even though it's in manual mode, I don't really have a lot going on. I mean, I've got the gain almost 100%. Not doing anything with the monitor headphone section of that. EQ is basically flat, so it's turned off. I don't have the limiter turned on, and I don't have the compressor turned on. So I'm pretty much just using this straight out of the box. These are pretty much what the settings were with the software, and that's it for that. Okay, so I've moved it back over to the BEACN mic, and I'm going to button up this last little bit. We'll see if we still see any big differences at all in the microphone of the Shure MV7 versus the BEACN Mic. I'm hoping that the BEACN Mic sounds better. It is a little bit more robust as far as the software capability is, and it looks better too. They just need to work on their software a little bit, which I give them time. They will have this thing running like a clock. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you all in the next one. I appreciate you all joining in, and I'll see you next time.